I didn't have time to put all that together. There's a lot of stories that were coming along in here. So, but the first up is correct because, dude, these donations, this whole bin, you can't see it in this photo. So, and I didn't put the ones from the ground from there, but dude, this thing is it's mounded inside. Like this is probably a 2.5 or 3 foot by 2.5, 3 foot, and 2.5 or 3 foot tall, and it's full. So, big shout out to Phil Balmaceda who donated all that back and all that stuff. What we got here, T. German? All right, guys, welcome to episode 129 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. What we got here, T. German? Whose rule book is the Drag and Drive groups using as a universal rule guideline? This is a great question. Let's come back to that after we talk about the short circuit, because that is a great conversation to have that we'll end the show with. So good one. Hang out for a minute. We'll talk about that because that's a great point. Dude, the donations were crazy. So we asked for cold weather clothing because the charity we support in Tulsa is obviously Youth Services of Tulsa. I've talked about that before and why we like them and what it does and pivotal moment in a kid's life and show them cool cars or cool people, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to get into all that. But when I rolled this in, the lady was like, is this all like jackets and stuff? I was like, yeah, and there's some, clean underwear and socks and a bunch of beanies and gloves and things. And she was like, thank you so much. So to everybody that donated, thank you so much for what you did. These kids that end up on the street, a lot of times they don't have anything when they leave their house or they leave the whatever situation they were in that put them as what made them homeless. They may just be leaving with the clothes on their back. So this is going to help a lot of those kids get jackets, and a lot of the stuff is cool stuff, man. I mean, like Youth Services of Tulsa will take gently used clothing as well, not used underwear or socks, but gently used rest of your clothing. So if you have some stuff, sleeping bags, suitcases, all that kind of stuff, we highly recommend if you're anywhere near Tulsa, please support them because man, it got cold last week. Like it got cold on Sunday, so I can't imagine half this thing was probably gone on Sunday afternoon to some kids. So big shout out to Blake Flores. Him and his wife brought like 100 pre-packaged matching beanies and gloves. And it was just so cool to have all of that stuff there. And just like the story you were telling earlier, Phil Balmaceda, and I think his girlfriend's Lauren, sorry, Woodard is her last name. I don't know why I remember her last name, not her first name, but they took the money that was donated to him to come up and peer pressure him into the event. They used that to buy a bunch of new stuff at Walmart. So it's pretty awesome to see all of that stuff come together. So thank you to everybody that donated. We really appreciate it. This is probably something we're going to keep doing as far as all of that goes. We'll run through some of the stories here. I don't know how we want to do this. I mean, there's kind of some notes, but so why don't you read the topic and then I'll tell some story. I think that's probably the best way to do that.
All right. We'll start out with that power adder class that we had talked about. So you mentioned 8 out of the 9 cars that ran finished with low 9s or better.
Yeah, it was pretty intense to see that many cars go that fast at just a thrown together weekend event. It was pretty badass.
Kristen Woodard.
Kristen, damn, I was close. Lauren, almost there.
All right, so then top 6 ran 8. Brandon Tapp ran a 14.636 and then turned around and ran an 8.902.
Yeah, that car's fast. That's the 63 Corvette that's like gray with the twin turbos in it, but could not get the car to cooperate on Saturday. It just kept blowing the tires off. And so he parked it and said, hey, we've had a blast. We're going home. So he said, we're not anywhere close.
Yeah, that's such a cool car too.
Oh, it was so cool to have a car of that level at just a short circuit event.
Yeah. And then this next one, I saw pictures of this, Lance Walker in the S10 spit a drive shaft on his first pass.
Yeah, I meant to grab a picture that his girlfriend posted up. Man, he's just in the passenger seat, just crashed out. That was a good time. All right, lead us on to the next one, man, because, hey, that Power Rider class, no joke.
Yeah. Johnny Heller, rear end Howell, ran a 7.944, which was the quickest pass of the event.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We pull into the Keystone Dam as our last route stop, and he's on the phone with somebody trying to see if they could bring him a ring and pinion right there at the dam, and he was going to swap it out at the dam. But he was like, man, I just don't have time to get it all done and then out and, get back to the track in time to make a good pass. And him and Boo left day one separated by 6 thousandths. 6 thousandths. Boo had a 8.1915, and then Johnny had a 8.1975.
Nice.
It was gonna be a showdown on the last day because I don't know if you know Boo Quamso very well, but he likes to win.
Yeah.
And he would have leaned on that car hard. And what was really cool is like Johnny had the Camaro at Rocky Mountain Race Week, and then had just worked on it, gotten faster all week. And so Boo was like, I feel like I had that class covered. And then Johnny knocks off like a 790, and he was like, wait a minute, maybe I don't have it covered.
Yeah,
So it'd have been a good one. It'd have been a great race to see those guys go head to head.
I bet. The next story here, Red Hat Scotty, he switched to the U versus U after a pass didn't show up on his app or his printout.
Dude, he was so mad.
So he was
good reason.
He was in the 650 index class, right? Before,
yeah,
would have been a 6.522.
Yeah. It went down, and he ran the 652 in another pass, but his second pass of the night, he has a recording of it up on the board. It's a 10:01 something. I can't remember the third digit, but so he's like, I guess I got to go to U versus U, because U versus U's limited at 10:0. That time slip for his second run, which would have been awesome and probably locked him into first place all weekend for the 650 index, but it didn't pull up on the printer. It didn't pull up on the app. So he was like, I have no idea what to do. I don't know what to do. That's why because they were ready to go to the hotel or get something to eat or something like that.
So, but he did lay down a 10.015, a 10.074, and a 10.195.
Yeah, sadly that won't cut it in U versus U, but very good runs. Very good runs. 10:015, I think, was the closest pass to a 10:0 that we had all weekend. So may look at a 10:0 index for the short circuit 2026. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which classes and what all everybody ran. So.
But we talked about the U versus U, and it was 0.02 was first place, second place. All right, Performer Built is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At Performer Built Transmissions, the goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet, period. Performer Built doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That is why they say their transmissions are not just built, they are Performa built.
Oh, yeah. Love Ryan and the team up there. The next setup here, the photos aren't in order. I'll just tell everybody that. So when we're talking about something and the photos up, it may not be about that person.
Second place was 0.022. So obviously very, very tight, which leads us to the next story here. Alex Rodriguez had a split of 0.002 on day one, but he finished in 7th place.
Yeah, it blew my mind. He had a Chevy SS that was out there, and when he left, because he turned his passes in early, and so I was like, oh man, yeah, whatever. I think it was like 1190s, something like 1198 or something like that. He turned them out. I was like, oh shit, this is big time, dude. I was like, you're fixing to scare people into going to another class. And so he had 002, somebody else had an 009, somebody had an 016. When we left on day one, it was pretty tight, which is normal because if you run a good time, you can generally loop back around and run something very, very close because the air hasn't changed or anything like that. And so then when I was doing all the awards and stuff, I was looking, I'm like, where the heck is this guy? Yeah, ended up in 7th place, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big swing.
Next story here sounds kind of fun. Daniel, is it Whitty?
That's how I pronounced it.
Daniel Whitty. Okay, so he made a pass on Friday, had to replace the rear main seal. So he ran home and changed it, made the drive Saturday, and made a pass.
Yeah, and it was fast. He didn't turn his slip in on Saturday, so I don't know what it was, but I know it was quick. But yeah, he come up to me. He's like, man, I can't make a pass. He's like, it'll put oil on the track. He's like, I can't make a pass. So he said, can I make the drive and still make passes tomorrow if I get it fixed? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. So they went home, pulled the trans, put the rear main seal in, and came back, and we're ready to go. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. All right, Kyle Merriman had a brake line failure on his daily driver. That's never a good thing. 2021 Ford F-150.
Yeah, so Kyle's one of the photographers for the track, and he was just in his daily because his race truck isn't done yet, which is like a 55 or 7 Chevrolet truck that's going to be bad to the bone. So he's like, I want to have this experience, so I'm going to take my daily. He broke like one of the hard stainless lines that comes out of the brake booster at the top, but is before the ABS block. One, cannot get that part. It's like a back ordered part. But
Oh
then
my God.
two, it broke in a spot that he's going to have to remove the steering column to replace the thing. Dude,
No way.
I'm like car engineers are just jackasses, man. Like he said,
Well, you
it's
know,
the way it routes around, and like, why would you design something like that?
well, I can tell you why. The reason they do it is because the next year they can improve it and show continuous improvement. Look what I made this better, less material, less, blah blah blah. And then it's sandbagging, right? You do all this stuff, and then each year you can make improvements. Like, I don't know if that's a real story, but I've
No,
definitely heard
sure.
things similar to that in the past.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's part of the thing. But it's crazy for a late model Ford that's like, I mean, it's from Tulsa. Like it's not like it's a northern truck or anything like that. Like
Like mine.
there's no rust under the hood, Crazy that it busted. I mean, and what's even wilder is it locked the ABS up because there was no pressure. It automatically locked the ABS. So he was stuck at the starting line.
Oh
And so
no.
they had to I don't know how they got it undone, but they had to push it off basically. So pretty crazy.
Oh wow. Rodney here says, I say daily, someone with a college education made this decision.
Yep. Yep.
So next story here, this one matches the photos here, which is actually pretty cool. Yep. Jack and Lauren Crawford had their new baby out for the trip. How cool is that?
Yeah, dude. You remember we were going to do the gender reveal and all that stuff at the Circuit 25? That baby's here now.
Yeah.
So they had her out. It was so cool to hang out with them. That family is so fun to be around. Jack is a great dude. Lauren's awesome. The kids are really cool. They just, I mean, it's a great family of people and love them. He run, I think a 919 was his quickest pass of the weekend. 9:139.
And that's such a big car. Like,
dude, like 40,
people got to realize
300 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, how impressive that time is for a car that big.
Yep. So Dean, the guy that was announcing the first round, my mom's husband, my stepdad, Will Short, was hanging out on the fence, and we were joking about it later because he's like, because he said, he goes, your mom had a car like that, like big LTD, and he said, then that car left, and we were both like, whoa. And he said, as soon as we said, whoa, the announcer was like, oh my God, what is this? So it's pretty cool to hear all those stories.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So congratulations to them.
Yeah. So what's this next one here? Tell me about Jeff Short. Won 2 entries.
Yeah. So every class winner got free entry into the Circuit 2026. So Jeff won one of those. Okay. But before that, you'll remember that morning of Short Circuit, for everybody that pre-registered, I also did a drawing for a winner of that. Jeff won that. So he has 2 entries for the Circuit 2026, which is awesome. I told him, man, give it to whoever you want. Just let me know. If you want to sell it, that's fine. If you want to give it away, if you want to do whatever, let me know, man. I'm in. It was so cool to have somebody win 2.
Yeah, just make sure it goes to somebody that comes.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring somebody.
Yeah, we definitely want somebody to be here, and a lot of times that entry is what holds a lot of people back out of the gate, So, or man, really, I think this year it's probably just going to be getting an entry, So, hint, if you're not already on the early list or a previous racer for the circuit, you better get on it right now because it's gonna go quick.
Yep. Next one here, Sean Larson left home in the GTO, then lost overdrive after trying to get to the car to an event for 2 years. He gets it out, loses overdrive.
Yeah. Then go ahead.
Then had a racer pull across in front of him on day 1, had to lock up the brakes and flat spotted all 4 tires. So the whole family jumped in Abby's Trailblazer SS.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So they have a black Trailblazer SS, which is what Abby raced this weekend. And then they have a white Trailblazer SS that's just not as fast as a black one. And then they have the GTO, the Iron Indian GTO, which he's been trying to get to an event for like 2 years. Every time he takes it out, something ends up happening. And so, so this sucked because he had to take it home that morning, comes back in the white one, I don't remember the name of the racer that went in front of him, but he ended up like it was close enough. He slid over that guy's parachute.
Oh wow.
So very, very close. He's like, it could have been real bad. Yeah. So glad nothing bad happened, but pretty wild story there.
Yeah, no kidding. And then looks like last story here, David Miller, fire on the first pass at the end of the track.
Yeah, he was intending to run nitrous and wanted to make a motor only pass to make sure everything was good. And I think that was his 893 pass. And so he goes down, makes the pass, no big deal. The car catches on fire. So it's just, so he like jumps out. He's at the end of the track. So the safety crew, I mean, the truck is running, but they've got to drive down there. Well, luckily, he was racing, I think it's Todd Stadel, in the black and red C10, like 70 model C10 truck. Todd had a fire extinguisher in the back, grabbed it, they put the fire out, but they didn't have, it had burned some of the nitrous wiring by the time they got it out. So no nitrous, but the dude laid down 890s and just destroyed the all motor class.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
not the fire part, obviously,
Yeah.
but to be able to continue the event and lay down some all motor passes like that.
Yep, they ran back to the pits. I don't know if the car drove itself back to the pits, and then they ran and grabbed some other some wiring and stuff like that to repair. I think there was one wire, like the tack wire or something like that, got caught up in all that stuff. So yeah, pretty sad that he couldn't put the nitrous on it, because dude, if he's running 890s with naturally aspirated, I mean, could he have been a contender in Power Adder?
Yeah. Well, this wasn't in part of your notes, but I just added this. Talk a little bit about the route stops. How'd those go?
Dude,
I saw some Waffle House pictures. I edited some pictures for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
That looked really good. So Waffle House looked awesome.
Yeah, the Waffle House was really cool. Big shout out to Driven Racing Oil. We split $500 with them to cover breakfast for as many people as that would cover, right? It covered everybody's meal except $7.25.
No way.
Yeah. So the last people that were eating in there got a $7.25 bill. So it's pretty cool to be able to feed everybody and do that. What it really allowed, I think I've got a photo in here. Hang on. Because this right here. So this is in the Waffle House parking lot. So big shout out to Melissa Morrow for snagging this shot. There was like 10 of us, I think, around Alex's bed talking for a little bit. It was just really cool. Like nobody was in a real big hurry for this one because we had time. We could this was at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So we had plenty of time to get back to the track. At this point, we're like 30 miles into the drive. So, we had an hour and a half worth of driving left. It was way more than that, to be honest with you. It's way more than an hour and a half after we left here. So big shout out to Melissa for grabbing this. But the Waffle House was great. The staff was awesome. They had more people than normal for Saturday morning. So things went very fast. They weren't overwhelmed. So big shout out to Richard, who's the district manager over there. Appreciate him putting all that together. And then, this all kind of started when we did the Waffle House breakfast or late night snack. Which one was it at the Circuit 23? Anyways,
I think we did a breakfast.
Yeah, I think it was breakfast. Big shout out to William Noble, who put all that together when we were in Springfield. And so, whenever we go to a new area, I reach out to him. Hey, who do you know down here? And, can you help us get in touch with them? And so he helped me get in touch with Richard, who runs all of the Tulsa area. Waffle House is kind of that next level up manager. And dude, Richard's great. He was like, bring it on, man. Bring it on. We're ready. We've got extra people on staff. We fill the parking lot. So there's a couple pictures that I sent that you edited that it's like all the cars in the parking lot are cool cars. It's pretty neat to see that in Waffle House parking lot.
Sounds like a good person that to have in your contacts going forward.
Yeah.
We'll be doing a lot of stuff around in that area.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. This next year is going to be pretty crazy. And we intend to really wear out some Waffle Houses. Then next we drove the drive from Waffle House to the Auto Museum. Somehow I got all jacked up. Like I'll tell the story here. I somehow misread the directions. Like I'm the one that wrote them.
Right.
Somehow screwed it up completely. And took me forever to get to the Auto Museum. I pull in and I'm like, the first people I see, I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. I don't know, because like I usually use Google Maps for the distance. I think about where I want to go, but then I use it like, turn right, drive 6.3 miles. Well, they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know what I did. I had to put it into my Google Maps so I could get to the auto museum. They're like, dude, I didn't have any problems. I'm like, oh, I'm like an idiot. So like 3 or 4 more people pull in after that. I'm still telling this story. These people walk up. I'm like, man, did you guys have any problem? They're like, no. What the hell? I'm an idiot.
So you
somehow
can't
I
follow,
screwed it up.
your own directions is what you're saying.
Yeah. Somehow I had missed a turn or something, and it just completely threw off everything I had. Or I think I went like 6.5 miles or so. It was just enough to be wrong. And then when it was wrong, I completely destroyed it after that. So it was pretty wild. But that was the auto museum was really cool. They actually had 2 cars from Chip Foose in there, like the Imposter. I don't know if you remember that car. It's a 66 or 7 Impala that's had every panel on it touched. But it's like a $2.5 million car at this place that has 34 cars. Like, I think what happened is somebody had a pretty cool collection and they're like, we need insurance and a good place to store these. Why don't we open an auto museum?
Hey, I'm in. So you're telling me that's what I need to do. I don't need to be looking for a shop. I need to look for a place that I can make an auto museum.
Yes. Yeah. But tons of really cool memorabilia. There was like a hand-built little like speedster racer kind of deal. A lot of really cool parts and pieces just around there that were donated from different people and all that kind of stuff. So I think it just was, I want to be an old dude that has an auto museum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like the one in Galena, Kansas. Like he has the ultimate, like put a little auto museum on the side of that and like you got it made right there.
And that was the feeling we got, like the Hot Rod Hangout and the Gearhead Curios it was like those kind of places, but with 35 cars. So it really had a good mix of a ton of stuff. Like there was some 50s, 60s, 30s, 40s cars in there. There's some late model stuff, motorcycles. It was pretty cool. But I got to talk to Brody Powell and I can't remember her name. Why am I bad with names today? But I got to they were from Australia originally and live here now. It was really cool to see it. Like they had a big map in the back of the auto museum that you put pins in where you're from, all that. And, there was a pin in the exact city where they came from, where they had lived. There was a pin there, and like they weren't on the coast; they were like inner Australia, and so they were like, "I wonder who that was." They're like, "I bet we can ask around and find out."
Yeah.
So it's just crazy when you think about like this auto museum is like, I mean, it's literally 34 cars. Like it's not some big crazy deal and 1,000 cars or anything. And somebody from an area in Australia ended up right there sometime in history. So it's pretty cool. And it just makes you wonder how many people are going to be visiting that place in 2026.
Well, we got about 15 minutes left. We got 2 questions that we're going to answer in the comments here, but your last note here says that there is going to be a short circuit in 2026, which you've already said, and you're working on dates for that. So as soon as we have those, we can start discussing that a little more.
Yeah, it's definitely happening. And I think we're probably going to limit it to 100 cars, to be honest with you. I don't want this to be some 200 or 300 car deal. That's what the circuit is for. I want this, Brandon Parker said it best, like have it be the end of the year party. Have it be the end of the year fun, laid back, relaxing event. I think I'm going to keep the format too. I think we'll go Friday night in a test and tune style, and then Saturday would be open, obviously the same way Friday night is. But if we can work in with the bracket race, I'm not opposed to that. Like it went really well. It really came together a lot better than I thought it would. I was really nervous about how the bracket racers would accept it, but I think they really dug it too. I think it brought a lot more fans in. I think it gave people a lot of opportunity. What's Tom asking there? Will the short circuit be before the circuit? Nope. It will be an end of the year deal. It will be late October, early November, something like that. Trying to dodge a little bit of weather. We had talked about doing something a little more south. But when you start looking at wanting to have quarter mile times and things like that, you really are limited to like Texas Motorplex. And dude,
don't got the money for that one.
That's a big one. And it's way away. I don't know. We may look at Oklahoma City. Amarillo's too far, but there's a lot of 8th mile stuff. We may look at those too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that time of year will 9 times out of 10 work for me. This year just happened to be, I was in a 7-week training at work that I couldn't miss. Obviously not something that happens all the time. So next year should be able to make it. And we got a little more time this time to plan it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Alex Arquette saying start the year with the short circuit and end it with one. That will kind of be how we do next year with the or the Street and Strip Series event. That single day being on April 12th. So we can probably work forward of that a little bit and do some fun stuff. So yeah, bring it on, Tom. I'm ready to see you guys race more. I know he's been working on that Caprice a bunch and all of his videos. Lucky 8 Performance on YouTube if you guys are looking for some fun follows there. All right, what's the other question?
We got two of them here. Brian here saying time for an all truck drag and drive.
Hey, I'm in. Let's go. We were talking about fast only cars the other day. You and I've talked about at length a slow car only event. That ruffled some feathers earlier in the year. The fast car only thing I think did as well. That wasn't my intention. I was really just asking, hey, do you think this is cool? Which I think it would be cool. So yeah, I don't know. You want to put together one? Let's go, Brian. I'm in.
And then the T German one here, whose rule book is the drag and drive groups using as a universal rule guideline?
This is a tough question to answer. So the rule book that runs the most, that is used the most, is probably Drag Week / Sick Events, just because it probably hosts more racers, right? The Rocky Mountain event, I like their rules better, and it's what we follow at the circuit because we are in the same geographical area as them. So it makes sense that if you're building a car for Rocky Mountain, that car also needs to be compatible with our stuff. We don't want you to have to change a bunch of stuff to race at our event and then have, change it around to do the other stuff. So it's really geographically, I would say that probably will maybe answer your question. I would look at them and just see, like, it goes back to, if you have 70 cars, is it worthwhile to really hammer down on rules? Or if you're going to have 70 cars, do you open it up some? Do you let it be kind of open your first year and figure out what you do wrong, right? Because nobody wants to see something ruled to death. Drag Week has 20 years of history. They know what works for them. They know what is going to be cheated. They know what is going to be wrong. They know how to make the difference in a super street car and a street, what's it called? Street race. Power Adder. God dang. What time is it? So I don't know. That's a great question. I'd love to talk to you about it. Love to see if kind of how many cars you're planning, what the rule package from there could be. Because again, what is a successful event? 300 cars, 30 cars, 50, who knows, 10, it just goes back to what you want to accomplish with it. And let's talk about it. I know the rules for the Street and Strip series are going to be very open, kind of like what the short circuit was, because one, it's very easy for me to look at. I can look at a car and know that there's no power adder on that car because it doesn't have nitrous or turbo or supercharger or anything. Same thing for a power adder. That makes it very easy. Now, the sad part is a 10-second power adder car has no chance of winning that class if some fast stuff shows up. So, it's kind of a catch-all for the rules. So we will probably add some slower stuff, some index stuff, I want to try and, I don't want to give everybody a trophy. Damn it. It's in a participation deal, but there needs to be an opportunity for somebody within like a 10-0 index probably would have been a great run for this one, because with double entries, you could almost do 650 class and 10-0 index and have a pretty damn good tune-up and be really close in both of those classes. So I don't know. Great questions, man. That's a good one. And then Brandon Parker here said the Speed Mini says, I feel like Keith Turk has the most influence on rules. And he definitely does. I mean, he's the one that writes them for for Hot Rod Drag Week and the Sick events, which they host 4 of those a year. So, or 4 of those a year that are at this level. So should be, or 5, I guess, with Drag Week being 1, and then the Sick events having 4 more from there. So who knows? I don't know. Let's talk, man. Again, I love the Rocky Mountain stuff because it's like there's 3 or 4 rules per class, and it's always been very competitive over there as well.
Yes, sir.
So anyways, yeah. So the Circuit 2026, I hope we blew your minds tonight, because we've got the Circuit 2026, we've got Short Circuit 2026, we've got 3 Street and Strip series single day races, and we have the Heads Up Hustle partnering with Drag Drive Repeat for a Heads Up Hustle styled event with Pro Mods and Jet Cars. 6 events for 2026. Gonna be crazy, bro.
Yeah.
What have we done?
And partnered with Sick the Mag to do some magazine stuff too. So a lot of new information, exciting information tonight.
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming. This was a good show. All right. Well, anything else?
I think that's about it.
Sweet. Well, dude, send us out, man.
Yeah, let's wrap her up. Again, thank you everyone tonight. Tons of comments. A lot of people talking about all the stuff that we announced. So definitely appreciate the interactions with everybody tonight. Again, this is why we call you guys our race car friends. This is why we have and will always have hashtag race car friends on our PRI stickers. So again, make sure you come by and grab those at PRI. And again, sponsors, we've got affiliate links, we've got discount codes. If you need anything from us to get you in contact with any of these people, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to get you connected to the right person to get you the things that you need. So again, thank you to Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, AFCO Racing Products, Performer-Built Transmission, Car Change 3D, PowerTube TV, WAF Racing, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk.
Oh, for sure. And to answer Rodney Reeves here, is Heads Up Hustle going to be at Tulsa? Nope. It is at US 131 in Martin, Michigan, September 11th and 12th. And then Alex Arquette, love you, buddy. Talk to you soon. We'll talk about some 2026 stuff. So, all right, guys, we'll see you sometime this weekend. Probably not Saturday because I have a cheer competition I have to drive a whole carload of people to. So it's going to be a blast.
We will see you when we see you. How about that?
How about that? Sweet.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.